Tesla loves doing small, incremental upgrades to the hardware of their vehicles throughout the year, which does have some benefits and some drawbacks. For one, it makes it very, very hard to know when a change has actually been implemented because Tesla doesn't make really a news post about it or make it that obvious, so people really aren't sure when the change happened. And also, it can mean that you can buy a Tesla and then literally a month later something can be changed that you wanted on your original vehicle. But on the plus side, it does mean that Tesla can add things willingly to the assembly line and not have to wait for the next year model like most automakers do, where if there's a change they want to make to the vehicle or some design update and that kind of thing, they have to wait till the following year so that they can say, okay, here's what's different on the 2021 model and that kind of thing. Tesla doesn't do that. So whether you like it or not, there are some rumors going around, some things that are for sure happening, some things that are more speculation when it comes to the Model 3, which has been fairly neglected when you consider all the love the Model Y assembly line is getting with its new gigapress and rear unibody casting process and the simplicities in manufacturing there. There's the octo valve, the heat pump, the radar heater, a bunch of stuff we love on the Model Y that the Model 3 still hasn't really got. But we do know for sure, most recently, that the Model 3 frunk has been updated. So volume-wise, it's pretty much the same. If anything, it might be a little bit smaller, but it actually matches the frunk area of the Model Y a bit closer than it used to. So in comparison photos, we can see, way back when Model 3 used to have grocery hooks inside the frunk. For whatever reason, they decided to drop those. Maybe this is cheaper. Maybe it has healthier profit margins, but this new frunk, it does go a little bit deeper, but the width is not quite as there, and that might upset a few people, but for the sake of manufacturing efficiencies between ramping the Model Y and the Model 3, that is a noticeable change that we can confirm nonetheless. And there have been a few people reporting that Model 3 is going through changes in mass production, and they're letting a few journalism sites know about it, but as far as we're aware, we can't get confirmation on these things, so keep in mind that a lot of the things I'm talking about in today's video are not going to apply to a Model 3 if you bought it right now and you accepted delivery in 3 to 5 weeks. That's not for sure. That's not certain. What we're talking about is what is likely to happen by the end of this year, but this leak is suggesting that the Model 3 is getting a slight headlight update. So they sent in some photos that you can see a tiny difference on with a little side bulb there. Not exactly sure why they want to add the extra bulb or they're wanting to change the headlights a little bit. Some might hate the new design, some might like it, but it's a change nonetheless, whether it's for profit margins or improving the performance of the headlights. It might be a North America exclusive thing. We're not exactly sure, but one thing I was really excited to hear about in this leak is that Tesla is adding a powered trunk to the Model 3, which means, yep, either from your phone or from the screen on the Model 3, you could tap the open button and it would automatically open the trunk. And they did include some photos that showcased where this liftgate would come from, just a little wiring and motor that would allow the trunk to open all the way. And again, people have been contacted recently who have taken delivery of a Model 3 and they said it's not in their vehicle, so this is not for sure happening right now. This leak could be just for the sake of clicks, we're not sure, but the photos do look promising and I haven't seen a lot of false leaks like this in the community, so in my opinion, if we're hearing about it now, there's a good chance they could be adding it to the assembly line shortly, and maybe in a month or two we'll start actually seeing delivery of those Model 3 with powered trunks, which is absolutely one of my top requested features of the Model 3. I love it on the Model Y, and it would be great if we could get that on the cheaper Model 3 as well. There was a small update with the Model Y as well, and I assume this is going to shortly take place with the Model 3, but before, the little buttons on the side of Teslas just had a line on them, and these buttons are the ones you press to open the door, and a lot of people didn't really know that, so there had been a lot of third-party accessories out there that would let you attach like a sticker to let you know, hey, if you click this button, the door will open. Well, Tesla seems to have designed their own in-house solution so that now the buttons on Teslas actually have a little icon of the car showing the door opening, so it's a little bit more intuitive, a little bit easier for people who haven't been into Tesla before to say, hey, okay, I click this button, the door opens. So it's a small change, but they've made it to the Model Y. I'm sure it's probably coming to the 3 shortly. And I saved the best for last, and the good news here is this is not a leak. This is a for sure happening thing. It's just a matter of time. Again, probably not happening right this second, but it will eventually come down the pipeline, probably by the end of the year. Tesla has filed applications for an updated Model 3 design with Chrome Delete. That's right. So the same matte black trim that we saw on the Model Y will shortly be making its way to the Model 3, and this is first taking place in China. That's how we know about this. In fact, a lot of the time, Tesla discloses a bunch of information in China that we have to kind of translate and hear about over here that Tesla in the US doesn't really tell us much about. But yeah, we've already seen a few pictures of these prototypes that Tesla is getting ready to switch out all of that chrome trim over for the black trim that we saw in the Model Y. I, for one, am really excited about this because I think it was a very welcome change people were happy about with the Model Y, and I know tons of Model 3 owners that, of course, love to do Chrome Delete on their vehicles. It just looks so much more simple and clean. It really ties the whole car together, and from what I've read, it's possible that the matte black trim might actually be cheaper in manufacturing to do than the chrome trim. So I don't know for sure if that's true, but if this saves Tesla money and it's able to make the car look better, then it's a win in my book. That's awesome. So those are the changes we actually have a little bit of concrete evidence on. Obviously, there's a bunch of stuff we want to happen, but there's not that many leaks or rumors to suggest it. But a lot of people were thinking this redesigned frunk that looks a lot more like the Model Y could result in the Model 3 eventually getting perhaps the octavalve or a heat pump, but most recent teardowns of the Model 3 have indicated that there is no heat pump or octavalve in place. But keep in mind, if we're hearing about these leaks now and they're coming from someone who works at the factory line in Fremont, then it's very, very likely that they could be implementing all these changes we're talking about, but those vehicles won't get delivered for a few weeks or perhaps even a month from now, because that's typically when the bulk of deliveries happen throughout the quarter, is at the very end. So these changes might be being implemented as we speak, but that doesn't mean that Model 3 deliveries we see right now or tomorrow are going to reflect them. And it's probably smart for Tesla to not bring these types of changes up until after they've taken place, because you would probably get a mini Osborne effect. Oh, sorry, I said it. Yeah, whatever. You would get a mini Osborne effect if you started announcing, every Model 3 ordered after August will now have a powered trunk. Everyone would stop ordering cars. So a little bit sketchy to not tell people. I feel bad to be that last guy who got the very, very latest Model 3 that happened to not have the powered trunk and everyone after him did get it. Sucks to be that guy, I know, but hopefully Tesla can disclose this information so it's a bit more concrete in the future. But while Giga Shanghai is implementing the Chrome Delete on their vehicles by default, pretty much everything that China has implemented on their vehicles was eventually adopted over in the US. Things like the Model 3s in China had built-in wireless charging by default, that had USB-C by default, all of which, of course, made their way over to the US-made Model 3 just a month or two after. So that's when I would expect things like the Chrome Delete to come out of the US factory. Probably in a month or two from now. Maybe they have to shut down the assembly lines very briefly to update the trim and that kind of thing. But thought I would just keep you guys in the loop if you're wondering with what changes are coming to the Model 3, of course, outside of big improvements with battery Investor Day. That, of course, is a huge wild card. But outside of all the cool battery improvements, what else is changing with the Model 3? Now you know. Now you're up to date. So let me know what you think of these changes. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you have an excellent rest of your day. Take care.